Let's get the party started, guys. I put the structure. So the goal today is to be efficient, and in my head always is to have some actionable step moving forward into the next week, because even something minor can make a big difference. We talked about BMNR being potential possibility. We talked about the follow events, that it does a liquidity event, stops out, comes back, and we've talked about different scenarios that helped. So I was looking at our structure. I think we do cheat a little when we take a look at Flash's research's gap analysis. So let's quickly go over market sentiment as a team one by one, and then we will use Flash research to kind of dictate, was our thought process semi-accurate? Because we all struggle, right? We always like, oh, well, we don't know what the market sentiment is. So let's go from right to left. Trader Jesus, what do you think market sentiment for the past week in small cap was if you were involved? Bullish, bearish, sideways?
I think it remains bullish. We were getting a lot of new people coming to the markets right now. We're getting like meme stocks like we had in 2021, like Open. And then just recently this IXHL kind of gave me some problems, but I was swinging it short. I think that's kind of turned into a meme stock as well. I think the company's pretty much garbage, but it's getting a lot of retail involved, and it's going to be a interesting time right now. It's like a repeat of 2021, so we'll see. How many? I'd like to see how many stocks like go further than expected on like a multi-day run. So it'll be interesting to see. Like we saw that one stock, LiDAR, LIDR. It had a 2-day run, and so I'd like to see how many are going to be doing these multi-day runs. I think that's more of a sign of a bullish market, and then I'd also like to see how many where the volume's going to be coming in, and when are a lot of these stocks going to get the most attention? What time of day? Like, is it pre-market, during the market hours, during the after hours? Like, when is the most of the action going to happen to bring the stocks up?
But in the past 1 or 2 weeks, you think it's bullish?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. Good point on multi-day. Yeah, if multi-day starts running, then we know they have some buying power. Brother Martin, what's your perspective on the past 1 week, 2 weeks?
I was already looking on Flash Research.
Cheater.
Market sentiment, which for this week showed that we had a lot of faders off the open. Actually, that the open was the high for all the gappers, for the average of all the gappers. So if we define market sentiment by how strong the gappers are of the open, I would say that this week was very weak. Of course, with some exceptions like MCVT on Friday or IXHL also had multi-day run this week. LiDAR still holding up, but the majority of the gappers, and we had a lot more than just these, they were weak off the open. Most of them faded pretty smooth, I would say.
I define market sentiment as I guess we can all have different definitions. How difficult was shorting? Because even though I am lucky enough to see everybody's performance, but even though people have different trading style, there's so much synergy. Like if stock is squeezing. So basically, market sentiment to me means if shorts are having a really bad time, things are squeezing and it's getting tougher, I think it's a bit bullish. So you're saying net, it's negative?
Yeah, net bearish. We still had more smooth faders than squeezers.
Good. Brother Arsenal, what's your thought process?
No. Well, I just make a quick comment on that because you were saying like you define bullish or bearish by how much stock shorts are struggling. The more shorts are losing money, the harder, the more bullish it is. So I guess you could make the argument maybe that a lot of stocks went up more than expected in the pre-market. They overextended the pre-market, so the people that shorted in the pre-market got hurt, and so that could be. I think if a stock is overextended in the pre-market, there's more of a chance they'll fall at the open. So that could be part of it too.
Very good point, because there is different segments. There is pre-market. In my head, they're separate, but that's a very, very good point. Yes, if it's hyper more extended in pre-market, the odds that it sustains that level, that's the equilibrium is low. Very cool. Arsenal actually brought something cool the past few weeks. He's been telling us to short pre-market. Brother Arsenal, what's your perspective on market sentiment for the past 1-2 weeks?
Just in comparison to last week, I would say the amount of gappers that are like kind of going 200% has been down. Last week we only had eight plays that went 200% in pre-market, and this week we only had 4. And I was just putting something together here, but I cheated a little bit. I was using Flash yesterday, so and it's continuing. Like the trend is still continuing. Anything that hits 200% in pre-market, you're likely gonna get a good trade out of it on the short side. You might have to wait till market open before things kind of settle down, but that's just what I think. But I think it's bearish compared to the weeks prior, but anything can change. But I think it's bearish.
So for the past 1 or 2 weeks, it was bearish.
The past week, the one that just happened. The one before that, we had 8 plays that went over 200%. I just posted what I was looking at to come up with this.
Brother Onyx, I know you're cooking dinner and you have family run. You said you just want to listen in, or if you have thoughts, feel free to spit it out. Yeah, I'll just listen. Okay, perfect. So I guess my thoughts. I'll cheat off of you guys. I think it's a bit neutral. There has not been many. For me, I look at the opening. I try not to pay attention to the pre-market because long term could be problematic. So off of the open, stocks have not had many super fades. There has been often just 1 or 2 gapper, and the ones that have a higher gap at like 85, 150% close relatively close to their opening price. So I think it's a bit neutral, and I'm gonna take a little bit of a jump ahead and say I would not be surprised if we start going into a bullish next week, potentially, just because of the stuff we see in this stuff here. So this is like LiDAR and MVCT or whatever it was. So this is where we're at. This is what I've noticed sometimes when it does this, the next month it tends to do that. Let me see an example of reclaims. I guess something like this. Okay, so now this, please everybody speak your mind. By the way, we're constantly updating Flash Research, as you guys know. So that we also have, if you feel like Mondays are not a good day, you could turn that off. And a lot of more variables are going to be added onto the entries and exits. And also you can now do a percent per trade. So if you feel like it's like your risk, you have to want position value to be 5% slippage, then you could do that. But that stuff aside, we are going to focus on gap analysis. And in this exercise, essentially, we are seeing like what faded, what pushed, 60% gap, volume, pre-market volume. And the goal here is to see if we can find some sort of a pattern. And I always do this wrong way because we should be on the 20th. We're July, right? So 14 gappers. This is the best fader offering, and it was 30 cents play. I think Lucas caught it. Did anybody else catch this?
Which one?
No.
GSIW.
They had an intraday offering.
Yeah.
Oh wow. No, I missed that one too. I think it was a 50-cent stock, right? Or it's like a sub 50 center.
Yeah.
I usually avoid those, but it looks like that was a good one.
Yeah. I think some of the guys were anticipating the offering. So for, I guess, Adam, everybody has a daily max loss of 4R. So whenever you see somebody's like, so Lucas did really well. So his daily max loss is 4, and then he did 16R because he anticipated that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He's a good trader, but also has struggles with, he can share if he wants to. Okay, so this one, offering, how could we have replicated? I guess always pay attention to if they need cash and if they're able to do it. The gap up was 60%, 70%. I always avoid sub 50 cents too. Anything else, feel free to speak. GoPro, that one I avoided.
I feel kind of bad for missing that one in D-Nut. I mean, because it's just, these companies are just bad companies, losing a lot of money. I think, that's an example of ones that went up a lot in the pre-market and fell at the open.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, they both crashed at the open, and they went super high at in the pre-market. I think it's just a case of the memes didn't hold like they did in 2021, but these ones they just went so freaking high. Like these are huge companies, and they like doubled in a couple days. Like that's not supposed to happen. So I feel kind of bad about missing those shorts.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a 230 mil market cap. It's funny, the product is so branded, so well known, but yet the company's burn rate's poopy. Okay, HTO. So I'm noticing a push off the open, fade. You guys didn't see anything other pattern? I guess big push in pre-market. Anything else you guys notice? I guess we could go ahead.
This was the Tuesday, right? Yeah, 2 days this week. HTO, where it was running on Tuesday and on Friday.
Yeah, they needed an offering, right? They're low in cash.
Yeah, I think they will do an offering probably, or some form of dilution. They need cash. It's still a micro float. I think 1 to 1.5 million float. Provided a good fade off the open. Ran in pre-market, kinda kept up into the open, even though it faded already a bit. Unfortunately, no intraday offering.
I think they did a pipe recently too, July 23rd.
Yeah.
At $15, $16. Crazy.
Right.
Okay.
So maybe they have some cash now, but they still need to register these shares.
Yeah, their burn rate's really high. I think they need to do another offering. That potentially increases the flow. Okay, so this is good to know recently because they have a shelf. Oh, they have a shelf that's pending effect. They have a shelf that's pending effect, and they have...
I think they can still use the old one, Jason wrote.
The May 25th?
They have a shelf from May 2022, right? If they file a new... normally the shelves are valid for 3 years. But if they file a new one at the end of this 3-year period, then the old shelf automatically will extend by 180 days until the new shelf will be in effect. So theoretically, they could still use the old one now until the new one is in effect, which means they could raise any day.
Okay, awesome. PAPL, HTO, and PAPL. Oh, that's interesting. Price action is relatively similar. Pushes in a little bit, halts down, too much selling. LIDAR, nice fear. So this one, the team actually, we discussed. Personally, I'm very happy. I don't know how you guys feel, but last Sunday we recapped, or some of the guys mentioned that LiDAR needs a higher close. So the day after when it opened up in here, a bunch of us longed it, knowing either here or here, risking this, knowing that it could potentially squeeze because of they needed a higher close.
To be honest, I thought they will do this on day one. They put out some filings on day 2 saying that they diluted already, that the outstanding shares at the float is a lot higher than what dilution tracker said. They only needed, I think they closed on 297 day 1, right?
They need to close 406 or something at 23 mil.
292. And yeah, exactly. They need to just close slightly above 3. So it went way higher on day 2 than what they needed. And the way it closed on Friday, I think they will do another push, maybe 550 to 6 or even higher.
Also, I think if it's not a bullshit company, LiDAR is actually, I'm just BSing, but if it's LiDAR that uses for company, like for autonomous driving, because Lucid recently got a relationship with Uber, and Tesla's basically the only one that doesn't use LiDAR. A lot of other companies are using LiDAR. Adam, do you know if that LiDAR is actually, does it do any kind of, is it non-bullshit company? Like, does it do something in LiDAR related?
No, I would say it's a bullshit company. I mean, it's far behind the other ones, the other research companies. The thing that reason why I kind of avoided it most of the time, I felt like it could go pretty high because of the low market cap. Because if you look at another one like INVZ, it's got quite a bit higher market cap, and it hasn't really accomplished anything either. I mean, it's pre-revenue and it's a LiDAR company. So let me double check to see if it's exactly LiDAR. It says yeah, it's LiDAR as well. So and they still have no revenues as well. So and their market cap's like 4 times that of LiDAR. So I don't know. I feel like it could go higher, but I see that it didn't go too high. It didn't go like crazy high. Like it just reached $5, even though it was a multi-day runner. $5 was a good short, a good time to short. But we did have somebody in my room that got squeezed on it. Took like max loss.
On LiDAR, yeah. I know a few people
on
that
on
were-
day 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody that was short like 150K shares. They took a nice loss. Okay. Moving forward, KSS.
When you get a chance, let's look at SMX at some point, because I'm kind of curious the way that one moved.
SMX. Okay.
Oh, we're just gonna look at those lists. Okay. Okay.
No.
SMX was not the gapper. It's not in the
No,
gapper.
it was actually an all-day runner. It was an all-day
Yeah.
runner. Are these just pre-market gappers?
So what we do is 2 sessions. So we separated into pre-market and normal midday. In my head, I also separate gappers and midday runners. So this section we're going over gappers, and the idea here is to see if we see a repetitive pattern. We all make notes, and then the next session is going to be runner, and very likely that ticker that you mentioned will be there. So anything that moves, we're able to pick up. Any stock that has range, we're going to study it. We're going to be like, okay, how did it run? What were the variables? So you have like 6, 7 traders that are, decent traders that we're all going to give our opinion, 2 cents in. And out of the 50 things we say, 1, 2 of them will be good, accurate, and not good and accurate. That's being too negative. 1 or 2 actionable steps will transition into P&L, which is really cool. So let's just walk through it quickly. By the way, as we're going through this, you guys see if you've noticed some sort of a pattern. I noticed one little thing that indicated that it's a bit bearish. Okay, so this is the first liquidity event, which is broke the highs and washed. Yeah, this is the other one. This gapped up 109%, but it kind of went sideways. It was on Friday.
It was an IPO.
This was IPO? LHAI?
Yeah, it was a Chinese IPO ticker.
Okay, interesting.
Home
This
AI
was
company.
day 2. Oh,
Yeah, no, LHI looks like real estate in USA.
yeah, but it's really a Chinese
It's the
company
directors that are Chinese?
led by Chinese people.
Oh, I see.
And it had this typical Chinese IPO day pattern, right? It squeezed from 5 to 22 and then unwound back down to 5. Next day gap up. So this is just a bullshit company with low float.
Interesting.
So could be in play, will be in play again in the coming, until the lockup expires and they will sell this down below 1.
You know when the lockup is? Is it 6 months? I guess it IPO'd.
Normally,
Yeah.
but they always find some ways to dilute that to dump sooner. So
Interesting.
next time when this really runs, probably always a reason why it runs. The reason is always the same,
Okay, gotcha.
to dump more shares. Anyway,
So this is the second liquidity event. I'm making Melton notes, and then these are the other ones. ABVX, grinded higher, VLGS, grind sideways, range. Okay. So what I noticed, which I don't know how concrete it is, but the commonalities that I found is it pushes a little bit off the open and it washes very aggressively. This is something that I was very interesting and nice. This halt down, personally, I'm trying to study it. I'm trying to be very open. I'm trying to study how I can get into this halt because I've noticed this pattern before. What are the criterias before something halts? Because very often, this is so pushes off the open, and then there's so much selling pressure that it causes halt. Whenever that happens, just logically speaking, it's a good indication. It's gonna fade. So you can participate at the auction, or if I haven't figured out a solution, but if there's another variable that I can walk through, that I'm like, okay, before a halt, this has to happen. And if I can get that in and get in a little bit faster, that would be a really sexy edge. So I noticed that a few times. Same thing here. Pushes off the open and halts. And you can see went from 8 to 5, which is still 30, okay, it's 42%, which is neat. Pushes out the open. So those are something I realized. Did you guys realize see anything, any pattern?
I'm not sure if it's a pattern, but when I see something especially a nano float or anything running strong before the open, I'm just kind of heads up, ready for a short. It's almost like they're trying to get retail FOMO. So whenever something's aggressive before the open, I'm more short biased. Not to say it's gonna always work, but
okay. That's a pattern that we also have been brought up as well. So you're talking just the last 30 minutes? Okay. Did you guys notice anything else? Adam, Martin?
with the meme stocks that were running this week, Open was initiated this whole theme last week, and then I think on Monday was KSS. Was it on Monday? No, it wasn't. What I noticed there is with KSS, GPro, and then there were two more. They all were very strong in pre-market, and then they made their highs at the open. And I think one reason for that is because first of all they had a high float, and also they, I think a lot of bag holders and maybe institutional owners who are holding these stocks use this opportunity to unload and to get rid of big gap, and that's why they all provided really a nice fade, most of them.
Who's the other ones? I don't think GPro was part of. So who are the other two companies? Do you recall?
GPro was also pumped by then the same, by I think Wall Street Bets.
Yeah, Wall Street Bets.
Okay.
And what else? RKT, I think. But this was not as severe. Well, it was also not bad.
RKT? But I don't know. Are these meme stocks? I don't remember them. I remember BBI was meme stock.
RKT was running, I think, in the as a replication of Open, because they are, I think, in the similar business, similar industry.
Yeah, I remember that. What's this swaggy stocks?
It's for meme stocks. It kind of just tracks like the forum, for number of mentions, and like it kind of gives like a sense. I'm not sure how accurate. It's just something I thought.
Okay.
Okay. Martin, anything from these variables, the stuff that we went through? Any price action stuck out?
No, not really. I mean, overall, we had many tickers this week that faded off the open, that made their intraday highs near the open already. So this is, okay. But nothing specific for price action.
Adam, any price action that you saw that you're like, hey, I'm consistently seeing this?
Well, I guess what I saw, I got squeezed on HTOO. I'm not too proud of it. I got in too early because I thought, I think I put too much value on the news, how it was like a non-binding deal. And it just kind of squeezed me in the pre-market. I just thought, man, this thing could go to 20, but it didn't go to 20. It went like 14.50 when I stopped out around 13.50. And now the mistake I made with this one is, okay, so you notice that the first gap up after on the news, where it's like 13, and then it came down. So like there's like a green candle, then a red candle. Mm-hmm. So I think that the mistake that I made was the red candle was like kind of too strong of a sell-off, and then the volume stayed high, so that was enough for it to rebound up higher. And I think what I should have done is, since it stayed up after 15-20 minutes after the news, it didn't fall further, and the volume was high. Like that was a sign that it was gonna break up higher, and so I could have covered at that point, but I held on, and then I actually ended up adding when I probably should have just gotten out. But another thing I was a little concerned about is the locate fee was very high on this one. It was like 6 to 10 cents, and that's that kind of makes you want to hurry up and use the locates when they're that expensive, and so you get kind of like FOMO more. Like, do you guys ever do that? Like, get an expensive locate and then have like FOMO because you don't want to waste what you paid on the locates? Yeah.
Was this also because it was a reg show, right?
Yeah, that too.
You could only use it once.
Yeah, that's true. That was another issue there. It was just confusing, man. But I don't know. The bottom line is, the volume was super high. I mean, that was bad. That was fucking bad. It pains me to think about it.
I was smiling ear to ear.
Because it came down right away. I mean, it came down right at the open. It came straight down. I mean, it's just, if I just held in the open, I could have made good money on it.
I was smiling. I mean, we have flaws, but our locate, whatever the price is for everybody on the prop firm, it turns flat. It's 0.0045. It used to be 0.002. So I'm happy to.
What is it now?
0.0045.
So you brought it up from 0.002?
I didn't it's not I didn't bring it. They were going to remove it, and then we had a 3-month debate back and forth. It was a whole shenanigan. But I think it's still a win because
do you still have reg show too?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to reach short. Okay. No, that is still really good. I mean, that is still a good price.
But you see, so there's one aspect that a lot of people don't understand is, so one is the cost of locates. The other one is how does it affect you? So what you mentioned is super valid. There's so many scenarios where you don't want to cover because it's reg show, and then I have a solution I'm working on that you can basically. The other aspect is if something is expensive, you don't want to locate it again because you're like, man, if it's in the money, like if the stock fades and you're like, am I really going to pay $1.50, $1.20 for the stock? What if it doesn't move because it's a sunk cost? So all these things, so having reduced locates, quote unquote, it saves you money, but also it actually increases your P&L because it allows you to have less of these emotional variables. If it's something that's working, you can get more locates as long as you're reasonable, you're not super aggressive. Like you don't go haywire because there's no such thing as free locates. It doesn't exist. So that's a very interesting point you brought up. And, yeah. So the stop hunt, it stop hunted, and I guess it did the same thing. Not the same thing, but
Now this one fell a lot in the pre-market. It looks like. What time did it start falling?
this second one, second time.
Yeah, the second one. So around 9 o'clock. Okay, I have seen that as well, where they start falling around 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Into the open.
I guess what happens sometimes is, as Arsenal was mentioning, sometimes into 9 to 9:30, it just pushes like green candle, and they tend to sell off. Or I suppose this for me, I love when like they stop hunt. So then you could short in here, risking like 0.5 R, and then off the open, if you find a good trigger, you could use that entry as well. I think I was short the stock as well, off the open, not pre-market. Okay. If nothing else, any other thing, Adam, that sticks out?
One thing that kind of sticks out that I ended up trading was AMOD, because somebody in my group was saying that company is like a scam, is basically a scam. And what I noticed with that one is well, let me see what price is it at right now? It's at okay, 139. Okay, so yeah, I covered it. I ended up shorting it close to the end of day. I go close to the end of the day, and then it fell from there. So I shorted around $1.90. And the thing with that one that I noticed, and I don't know if this is like a big deal or not, but let me can I share my screen for this one?
Of course, yeah, of course, bro.
Okay, cool. Let me just take a look here, because this is something I kind of noticed. Let me pull up dilution tracker here. Okay, let's see. Okay, am I sharing my screen now?
I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
Oh, let me try it. I did something wrong there. Okay, here. Okay, I'll share it right here. Okay, you guys can see it now, right? Okay. So this is AMOD. Okay, let's see here. So what I noticed from this is that it has these convertible notes at $1.25, and then I wasn't didn't know for sure if those were getting used or not. But then if you look at the chart, this is what's kind of interesting, is I looked at the long-term chart, and it showed that the stock price kind of hung around this $1.25 price. So what that told me, and like I said, I don't know if this is right or not, it just was my own theory, is that they were constantly getting hit, and that's what kept the price around $1.25. So let's look at let's see if we can look at like a 3-month. Okay, right here. So look at this price here. It's like $1.21, $1.29. Like you see, it's like between $1.10 and $1.35. I guess $1.10 and $1.40. And most of the time here in June, it was like right below $1.25. So like $1.20, $1.27. And it goes back up to $1.29, $1.30. So it seems to me that they're constantly using this. And it's also Streeterville, Streeterville's notorious for like just raping micro caps. And so I was looking at that, I'm like, damn, they're going to be converting this entire convertible note on this pop to $2. So I just figured Streeterville is going to just totally clean it out, like do the entire convertible note. So that made me want to short it as well. So like all the pieces I put together, I'm like, well, this is going to be a good short because that. And then sure enough, if you look at the news here, and I use News Edge here, AMOD, the very next day, they said, as if it's good news, but they said eliminates variable rate debt and finalize capital structure cleanup. So they even said it. It said like long-term shareholder that confirms that all variable rate debt has been fully resolved and extinguished. So they even put out a PR saying this entire convertible note was used. And so that theory ended up being right, because they used the entire convertible note, and that pushed the price down for my short. So that was a good like 1-day swing.
But the question is, why
I guess that's about it.
Why would you convert the notes? So because if you're converting a note, yeah, they have to pay that $1.25. So you,
No, they
there's-
don't. They've already paid it in the past.
Oh, right. Yeah,
They
yeah.
just they just changed the note into shares.
Right, that was their
And then
cost.
they sell the shares.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
My apologies. I'm mixing it up. There was this one theory where this is a tinfoil hat on. This is just me BSing. I'm not BSing. It's just a guesstimate. The concept of pre-funded warrants, quote unquote, is 0.001, but the cost basis is different. Sometimes what they do before a big run, Adam, in my opinion, when I was trying to, there was a period where they would give like 500 million or 300 million cashless warrants. They would exchange hands, and you could see on the daily chart, like the stock didn't move at all. I think DAI or some 4 or 5 tickers, me and JJ, we went long. What we found is similar to what you're saying. On the daily chart, no volume, and then 500 or 200 million volume, 300 million volume, and the stock price doesn't move. And the pattern that we found is a week later, 2 weeks later, it pushes like 300, 500%. So I'm ballparking the numbers, but let's say that I think it was like 800 million warrants. LFMK or something like that was one of them. DAI. I'm mixing up the tickers. I'm sure I don't have it. But the idea was they had 800 million, 500 million warrants, and then you could see on the daily chart that somebody exchanged hands because the stock didn't move at all yet. It like traded 50x, 30x of the average daily volume. So it's just like, that's interesting.
Which stock are you talking about?
ILMFK, I think, and then ADI.
Okay.
I can find you the tickers behind, but I only mentioned it just in case of this conversion be a bit cautious. It wouldn't. I mean, I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but if it was cashless warrants, and I saw the exact same thing structure, I would actually long it, given that because they need volume to dump, right? So they pushed LFMK or LFM. You guys remember what the ticker was? Ben and Arsenal?
MFA?
There was a ticker that had like 3-4 tickers that had like 500 million cashless warrants a few months ago. No problem. Okay. Let's move forward. Did I miss Arsenal? You gave your opinion, right? Let's look at intraday runners. So what I'm putting here is 40% range. I think I'm going to put 59% here. So I just thought about this. Let me see if I can save this.
And just to confirm, I just want to make sure, like gap value means from 4 p.m. the previous day to 9:30 the next day.
Gap value?
Yeah.
It's opening price in relation to previous close, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks.
So the other thing that we looked at was 60% gappers or higher. So now we're looking at midday runners. Any stock that has had a range of 40% is basically the high of the day and the lowest price. So any stock that moved, we're trying to decipher how did they come about. Okay, so the timing is correct. Let's see. Wow, 43 stocks.
Yeah, because I think you set the max gap value to basically 60%. So you have all the gappers that gapped less than 60% also in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if I put no limitation, it's going to be a lot.
So before we had the gappers above 60%, now we have the gappers plus intraday runners below that opened below 60% at the open. That's why we have 43 number of gaps.
Yeah, but it shouldn't include the gappers that we looked at. These should relatively be.
It shouldn't be the same tickers. But
okay, yeah. So let's see if we can find golden nuggets in here. I am doing the same thing again. If you guys have a different way of learning, what the frick, MFH. This is what you were talking about, huh? Adam? MFH?
Oh, holy shit. No, I didn't mention MFH.
That's crazy, though.
No. I think it got smashed.
Yeah, it looks like a Chinese liquidation. Yeah, Chinese ticker.
Yeah, it was. China liquidation, yeah.
Let's see if we can pull up MFH. Was Wowzers. Okay, so I had to run up a little bit. Can we replicate this if we see it next time? I don't know. This is gonna be difficult for me. Can you guys? I don't think it was a gapper. 16% gap. That's tough. If you guys have a way, feel free to mention.
No, I didn't even have this on watch.
Yeah, these stocks that went up or down midday.
Sorry?
that went down. You're talking about. These are stocks that went down during the market hours.
Yeah. So the variable
Yeah,
that I
up
put
first.
is the variables that I put it has a 40% range. So what I'm trying to find is any stock that had a big move. I'm just trying to
Up
take
or
a look.
down.
Up or down. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, either one. Okay, cool.
Usually first up, then down.
Yes.
But this one was just liquidation from a higher, so it went just down.
So HSCT, low gapper, pushed, midday, low, super low volume. Why is there two of these volume stuff? Do you guys know?
You can just remove one.
Yeah, but it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
It's okay. I want to be respectful of your time. Oh, there's a save button at the top. It's okay, not a big deal. We'll just move forward. Trying to find pattern.
So these are not typical intraday runners. They are all kind of gappers, I guess. But the real typical intraday runner is one that opens flat, and then later in the day, it gets a pump, usually from some groups, runs 60, 100, 200%, and most of the time all the way back. This is the typical intraday runner pattern.
Yeah, but if we, like, what's our objective as traders? Our objective is to find stock that has range, right? So if this stock here, open, if it had a 30% range, regardless of however it reacted, this is what this is like data scripting with your friends in real life. Because we're just looking at any stock that had a 40% range. If we can find a way to capture it, it doesn't have to be in a way that it goes up and then goes down. But I do know what you're talking about. But
yeah,
a China liquidation play we can find. And then if we see 3-4 of them in the past few days, Martin, and then we could be like, hey, let's be cognizant and aware of China names. And then we can tag each other that it comes off and we can see that price action type deal. So this would capture your midday runner and it would capture this other stuff. Oh, this used to be my favorite type of plays. I love these plays. Me and Nathan. This used to be my A+ setup. The reason is because you could like tier 1 into this and then you could tier 2 into this, risking this. And this would give you, if it works, like 8R SABS. Anybody capture this one?
no.
No, I stopped that.
What stock was it?
SABS.
Okay, I avoided that one for some reason.
Good avoid. Low gap, good amount of volume. Holy smokes. Whoa, pre-market volume of 20 mil. That's a big chunk. It's not penny stock.
I think they have warrants as well, right? Let me see the warrants.
Yeah, they had ATM. They have warrants at 630. Holy smokes. They have 100 million shares. Wow. What the frick? Yo, what a freaking company. They have Series B, 100 million shares that they need to dump.
Holy shit.
It's not registered. That's fucking sexy. We gotta pay
And another
attention to
150
this.
million on top of that.
Bro, that's crazy.
Wow.
So that's where the volume
That's-
came in. It's
that's
very
sick.
sexy. That's beautiful. This stuff like this, I don't know. I don't know if turn on is the right word, but it excites me. It excites me. I fucking love it. 100 million freaking shares at 175. That means
Yeah, but they're not
registered.
registered. I mean,
Yeah. But
what
the
can
thing
they
is,
do?
so you could
They have
you could
7
reverse
million on
engineer
the
this.
shelf. ATM. This is what they can dilute.
Wow.
There's money to be made on stuff like this because they're gonna push it up or down. Like you could revert if you really think about how they operate, how they pump it. We have successfully done it for a long time. Me, JJ, and Abel, we had a swing long portfolio. You have to look at intrusive details. But this is one of those names. It reminds me of like CEI, where they dump like 100 billion or like a lot of, not 100 billion, sorry. They dumped a lot of shares. So the market cap on this is 23 million. That's crazy. That's
What is it?
23 million only. That's crazy, bro.
The stock's at, yeah, man, fucking way overvalued, man. This thing.
Yeah, the dilution on it is bananas.
Don't forget the other 150 million.
So the outstanding shares is like 9 million. Bro, this is a multi-day runner. I might I'm gonna, honestly, after this, I'm gonna potentially see if I can long it or if it makes sense. It's tough. I don't know.
Are you generally more short or long biased, Afghan?
I'm like 99, 98% short biased. But once
Okay,
in
because
a,
you're always talking about longing.
yeah, because it's, so one thing I found is if I catch a long, I only long when it's short squeezes, or I long based on filings. Like whenever we catch longs, they like push 300 to 500%. It just risk rewards are nice. I always talk about longing, but I like barely long.
Afghan is talking about anticipating some fresh pump up, because sometimes they need the price higher to unload more shares, and they did this in the past to anticipate this move. Yeah.
Okay, so this stock is gonna be in play. Let's take a look at this freaking price action.
Yeah, because I remember one time you said you were long something, but I tweeted something negative on it, and you liked my tweet. I'm like, what? I thought he said he was long. He was lying. Because you were trying to encourage the short squeeze, right? You wanted more shorts to get in.
I got no biases, man. Whatever makes money, and it's always good to hear other perspective. So it faded this much. How much volume did it trade? Sorry for sticking on this. If you guys want to move forward, we can.
No, it's interesting. It's just now in my head. If it gaps up again, we know what to do.
Bro, they did not dump those shares. This is only 81 million shares. Yo, I'm gonna tag JJ.
You cannot dump it if they're not registered.
Yes, but what happens is, like, so I don't want to make it into long, but there's one aspect is understanding dilution. Like, hey, there's dilution because there's convertible warrants, this. There's another level to that, which is understanding the storyline and understanding how do they dump. I think that's equally as important as the knowledge of dilution. You're kind of like solving the puzzles together. So if they need to dump, Martin, in my 2 cents, I have to dig further. If we know that they need to dump 100 million shares of these convertibles and that's their goal and agenda, and they also have an ATM. So you have to look at all variables, but if we make an assumption, which may not be true because the Series B warrants were all the way from 2023, so maybe it's just these guys that believe in them, whatever. So if they needed to dump it, you would take a look at the volume. Sometimes they dump it, they short it, and then because they know that the effect is going to come in like 1 or 2 days, and then you make 50% on your money. So that's how it works.
Yeah, this is a different case, but in this case, they did the private placement 21, so just very recently, and they didn't even file any registration filing yet, so they are far away from any effect.
Hey, so this actually gives me more reason to long, because the pipe was for 721. On this date, they did a pipe for 175 million, and it was priced at $1.75. Oh fuck! So they were short. See, these pieces of poops were short, and they had warrants on it. So they were short ahead of it, and by them participating in the pipe. I have to dig further, but this would not surprise me. If I were to long it, I would do a bit more research, and then my risk would be risking like $1.25. So then you have a 50% drop risk, and if it works, it could go 6, 7, 8. Given if their goal and agenda was to dump those shares. So how would I tell if it's manipulated people? If I see Armistice, Savvy Management, and if those guys were involved, then I know because the technical traders, what they do is they look at this and they're like, oh yeah, this is resistance, it goes in. They know this stuff, right? So then they just squeeze it much higher, push it higher. Yeah.
Actually, this private placement was bought by some real investors, it seems. Sanofi was amongst them, which is a real biotech company. It was not, maybe this is a biotech company, and this could be more than just BS, the typical BS company. They invested maybe in this private placement for the long term, if you look at the investors who bought this private placement. But yeah, anyway.
No, that's a very valid point. That's why I'm guessing, because I think it needs more research. So if I see that it's good investors, that I'm not as enticed too long, because even though it may work, investors may be right. That's not I'm looking for plays where they're manipulating price action, or they're doing shady stuff to cause a squeeze, or have a multi-day runner. Like, right? How did me, JJ, and we've done this consistently. Like, we find the multi-day runners based on reverse engineering that they need to dump these shares. Anyway, I don't want to take too long. Very cool. Any 2 cents on that? Any other thoughts, feedbacks on that? Sorry for just
is that SMX one of the ones on here?
SMX. I can do this.
It should be, right?
Could be,
If it moved a lot.
It moved a ton, man.
Was it last week?
Can you just do a search for it? Yeah, it was Friday.
Okay, starts with S.
Well,
S M as in Mary, X as an X-ray.
the thing is SMX opened unchanged, right? It opened flat.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so this one catches
And this
5%.
scanner on Flash Research has a minimum value, gap value, how much? 20%, 25%?
5%.
Oh yeah. Take that off the There shouldn't be a minimum with what we're studying now, is there? I mean, why should there be a
No, by default.
minimum now?
By default, Flash has a 5% cap only, and what that does is it removes a lot of the big cap and it makes the software faster. But we will adjust and change that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you create Flash Research?
I am one of the co-founders.
Oh,
and
excellent. Okay.
I help and I develop, trying to make it better. It's
Okay.
not all me, but I input some variables. Okay, so this is the ticker, SMX.
Yeah, the reason why I kind of wanted to go over this, I wanted to get your guys' feedback on what you think about this move, because they put out a lot of like repeat news, and it didn't move at all before. Because they first put out news on let me find the first date they put out. So it was actually the 21st. They put out some promotions about it. Well, actually, I think it was more like the 20. Oh shit. I'm trying to find it. It kind of pumped and dumped. I guess it was the 21st. I guess so. Where it went up and then it came down.
Pre-market
What's
run,
that?
right? I remember.
Yeah, it was a pre-market where it just completely gave everything back.
On July
22nd.
15th. July
And more.
15th. Oh,
Oh, was it 15th?
let me pull up the chart. I have it pulled up.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but that's why I was interested by this.
Yeah.
Are you talking about this week or earlier
Yeah.
than that?
I'm talking about well, the particular move I'm talking about was Friday, but it moved earlier than that, which was
on the 22nd, on Tuesday, it had a pre-market move this week.
and then it dumped, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me double check that.
I just posted
It
the
was-
chart up on Sunday recap.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it went up. Let's see.
the 15th. That's from 2 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah, I think what we're trying to see here is just you're talking about the 22nd.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you mean this week or do you mean 2 weeks ago? What Azalam posted was 2 weeks ago. They also
Okay, no, I'm
did a
talking
move.
about this. I'm talking about this week.
Yeah, this week was the 22nd when it moved in pre-market and then dumped.
Yeah, so that's interesting how on the 24th.
Yeah,
It
somebody
dumped.
is reading this. Somebody's buying it up and then dumping it. Somebody is behind this move. They brought out a PR every day of this week, right? Every day they announced some BS PR.
Exactly. That's why it's kind of crazy is that it pumped and dumped over and over again this week. It actually happened on the I guess it was the after hours on the 24th. It went up and then it came all the way down on Friday.
Yeah.
And then it went back up. So do you guys think that was a fake move? Like, is it artificial move on Friday? Or do you think that was like a natural move with like momentum traders?
You know, maybe they trained people who traded this stock that every time when this moves and gaps up a little bit, it's always sells off. And then on Friday, also sold off until the open, and then the real volume came in. I don't know who.
The real volume
did that.
didn't come in until 11. The real volume came in at 11 a.m.
True, yeah. I mean, it was slowly grinding higher right off the open, basically, but then the volume came in later at 11:30 then.
So
I guess they have an
yes.
agenda, that's all. I mean, they want, and it's closed strong, so this will definitely be on watch for Monday, Tuesday. They have 5 point.
They dilute a lot.
The convertible note at 131 conversion price, 5.2 million shares. I think this is the agenda there. So they need some volume, they need some retail leaps joining, so they can at one point unload. But will be a good watch for tomorrow.
Yeah, you see a convertible note at 1.3.
31. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
131.
that's it. Yeah, that's the one that's gonna get liquidated. Man.
Will be hopefully higher first, maybe because it sold off pretty big the last 2 weeks. Maybe it can go to 3. It would be amazing. Maybe even in pre-market.
Yeah, and when it spiked at the do you see where it spiked towards the end of the day at let me get the yeah, it had that big green candle at about 1:30 1:45. That's when I got in, because that to me looked like a blow off top. Like, do you guys think that looks like a blow off top?
At 1:30?
At 1:45? No,
Really?
145 right there. Yeah, 150.
Yes.
That big green candle, like that's the biggest
Yeah.
candle of the day.
I wanted it above 250. I think I had an order at 255
Bro,
waiting there.
Are you talking about this? This is 145.
No, the next one, the next one, yeah, the 150, yeah, because that's the biggest green candle of the day. And to me, that looked like a blow off top.
I mean, I suck at these parabolic shorts, but I think it's a bit hindsight. No, I don't think I would short that, because first this volume is to here, and then what if the next candle is much higher? Because the volume is not me personally, I don't think the volume is big enough to be a blow off. It's a bit hindsight in my opinion. If this was
my analysis, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if this was twice or 3 times at the volume, then I would consider it. But what I do after is I wait for the next candle price action to dictate. I wait for some consolidation. Because if it's a midday runner, like very few times will it just go super red. It will often go a bit sideways before it washes. If it's a midday, that's all.
Okay, well, the way I looked at it is it was stair stepping most of the day, right? It looks like stair steps, and then that big green candle looks more like an elevator.
Yeah.
And so
Sped up.
I agree.
yeah,
It was speeding
yeah.
up, and I wanted it above 250 to be interested. It didn't quite get there.
Yeah. So I was able to get it. I actually had pretty big size. I kind of regret going as big as I did. I shorted like 100,000 shares at about 220. So it kind of went against me, but then I ended up making some decent money on it when it came back down to like $2. So just want to show you that one. I thought it was interesting because it's like it's not really up on anything new. It's just it really seemed like it was manipulated up, and that's why I was actually a little bit scared, because I thought it was just a complete manipulation. And but now you mentioned the convertible note, Martin, and that's probably going to bring it down.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this run, probably.
Yeah.
And should be a good opportunity tomorrow, probably tomorrow already, based on the close on Friday. Be in play tomorrow, most likely.
Yeah, and another thing, take a look at the Dilution tracker says it's got negative 3 million in cash, actually below zero.
Cash.
So
Yeah.
so they might be hitting the ELOC as well.
Yeah, true. They also have, and they have 6 million shelf capacity, so they have a lot of shares to sell. The question is, how high will it go first? It's just a matter of timing it well, not getting squeezed out before it dumps. Good one for tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it up. Appreciate you. Useful.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, just so you guys know, at the end of this, we are gonna go over like what's your takeaway. So if you have notes, please share them at the end. So these are the midday runners. I'm just trying to see. This one's tough to predict. We got that one. PFC, no volume. Open is interesting. Open is very interesting. Not interesting. Like, it's liquid. A $4 billion. Has anybody been following?
It's holding up on the daily, I find. What do you guys think?
I think any bounce would be another short opportunity. But
I think you want to short any pops, yeah.
Unless it really consolidates now for a few days above 2, then I would be careful shorting a breakout above this consolidation. But the short-term bounce is probably still a very short opportunity. Quite some backholders now above around 290 to 3 in this area.
You can see volume profile built at 325.
Do you think the bag holders are just going to say, like, the moment I get back in the profit, I want to sell? Probably what they're thinking, right?
Normally, but you never know with this Wall Street crazies. Wall Street bets crazies.
But also, in their defense, I don't know if many people are in pain. They could be, but look at the chart went from 50 cents to that. So for me, a perfect situation is it gaps up into 350 or 4. That would be a really good short. Like if you see after that, if it's heavy off the open, then okay. So I'll write this down as a variable as well. Open push to beautiful SABS. We talked about pad, low volume. You guys traded this? I bet Lucas and Admin traded this.
Sorry, which one is that?
Oh.
DEVS? Yeah, that was crypto news. No, I didn't trade it. Which
Liquidity event, crazy fade, UAVS. Now I'm gonna take a look at squeezers. Holy moly. Air, yeah. This one's squeezed and then offering after hours. And we see it here. So this is a long setup in here. Probably selling here. Wow, that's tough. That's a tough chart. So when I see stuff like this, I'm gonna be like, yo, just walk away. Don't short this. And it's holding. So I will write myself HCTI short. That's not my stream. Wow, DFLI, PLRZ, trap and go. Anything you guys notice? IXHL. I think you guys all shorted it after hours. This was offering,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
This was one of the biggest opportunities this week and also for next week because it held up on Friday.
Yeah. You're very good at offering plays, Martin. You're very good. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Do you guys notice anything from those stuff?
I gotta get going pretty soon.
So before you go, we have, I guess, the summary and the takeaway. We're gonna wrap up too in a few minutes. So Adam, if you could start, what is some actionable steps for next week and then maybe your key takeaways from today's meeting?
Well, I think the SMX is a good one. They got the like that. I read the news basically didn't really say much. I mean, it really was kind of nothing. It looks like they're in a selling mood right now. So I think SMX, any pops, we get short. See if they pump it some more next week. And then so that's what I'm have on my watch list. And then let's see what else. IXHL. We got to wait for the data to come out. So I think the data is going to be crap. So I think, but I think at the same time I wouldn't really add much right now because I think we could go back to highs if it turns into like a meme stock. And I think I'll just look for meme opportunities, but also I need to look at where volume it is a lot. Because the HTO, I don't want to make that same mistake again. I think where the volume was high, I could have not shorted. Wait till it goes parabolic, and I want to look for more of those like blow off tops. Like H2OO SMX kind of had blow off tops. That was a good time to short. And overall, I guess what you guys were saying, the pattern has been they move a lot in the pre-market, then fall at the open, start falling at the open. So we could basically look for shorting right before the open or at the open. But then at the same time, if something's been moving, all day starting after the open, we can assume it's going to move all day. So still look at that. And I think the open, I think short any pops on open would be a good idea. Like that. Let me see where it's at right now. It's at 254. So let me double check this. Yeah, I mean, I think probably if it goes back to 3, probably good short right there. Because it's probably not going to go back as high as it went before. Because before it went as high as $5, but probably then it went down to 2. So maybe it'll go halfway back up. So that would be about 350, I guess. Maybe 350 would be good because that's halfway back to the highs. So I'll watch that one as well. And then I also want to kind of get more into flash research. Like I haven't been using it that hardly at all, but I do have a subscription to it, so I'll try to use it more.
Yeah, I think it would really help you. I don't know if you're looking for constructive feedback. I don't like the trade that you took in 220. I think that's a very long term. It's a bad trade because you were short at 220. You covered at 2. The stock went to 247. It could have gone to 260. I think it is better. It's always better to wait until the candle ahead. And that candle was not a big enough volume.
Wait for what?
So if you anticipate something to be like the volume in my books was relatively similar as the previous few candles. Like I'm talking like 4 or 5 candles ahead. For me, the volume candle has to be like 2-3 times bigger. And even then I kind of wait for the next few candles to see the reaction. If somebody's time really makes a difference. At the open, that it pushes and you're looking at volume, it can fade off. But if somebody has put like 100 mil, 10 mil, let's say somebody's trying to squeeze it or trying to walk it up, and as you said, staircase it up, the odds that just because we shorted and it's going to instantly drop, it's very, very few. So that trade, if you take that same trade 100,000 times, I don't think you will have a positive expected value. How do we improve that? Make sure that the volume candle is 3 times as big, and even after it's as big, try to see the next few candles. Are they red? Are they topping? Is there some sort of action? Because shorting, you shorted 220 in here when it was going up. If you shorted on the other side, even hypothetically, it was the same price. This 220 is better than this, right? I'm sure you know that concept, basic stuff.
The backside, yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying wait for the backside.
You always should, bro. You always should. Because even if you made money or didn't make money, that was a bad long-term trade. So I consider that personally as a mistake, even if you made money. It doesn't matter what you made. You covered at 2, okay, this green trade, but is it a good green trade? In my books, it's no.
So do you think Martin was too hasty as well to try to short at 255 instead of waiting for the backside? Or Martin said he was trying to get at 255, the SMX.
Yeah, I think that would have been a bad trade as well. Because if it got to 250, so let's pull up the chart right here. And this is my opinion. What's the ticker again?
SMX.
Okay. By the way, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. But what I would do is, let's say if this moved, I will draw a screenshot here. Let's say this pushed into 250. Oh, sorry, this is too far. So let's say this pushed it into 250, 260. I think shorting here is also a mistake, because what are you risking? I've had a lot of these conversations with Martin, and I tell him all the time, if you short here, bro, it's so tough to determine what the risk is. But if it got to 260, and let's say this is a green candle, right? This is a green candle, and then it came below 240, below these, well, like, if a structure is created, now your risk is defined. Now you can be like, I can put on a 1 hour trade or something. But if you're shorting 250, 260, you're guessing, hey, it's going to be 275 is my risk and 280 is my risk. Whereas if you wait on the other side, like it goes to 260 and then you come back and you short like below this candle, like I know we don't have this, so this goes up higher and then it comes back here. So there's other people did the guessing for you guys. Other people guessed, you enter here, and if it's like 1 hour left, then you know they need to dump it. You can be confident knowing that 262 is your risk, because other people guessed. You're coming in late. You can bet heavier. You can put on that. Like this would all. Am I making sense? I don't want to repeat myself a lot, but if I
Yeah.
have tendency.
Yeah, absolutely. And the difference is, on the way up, if you start a short position on the way up, you cannot risk a lot.
Yes.
But when you wait for the potential backside, which is also not always the confirmed backside, but at least if you wait for the, let's say, 2-minute red candle, or first 3 or 5-minute red candle, then you at least have a level to risk against, even though you might also risk even higher than that, because maybe you give room for even more for another clear out, which is also possible. One important piece of information that Adam and me did not share, earlier, because for this entry, was how much did we really risk and where was the stop, because this is also an important piece of information for every trade to tell if it is a good or a bad trade. And I mean, of course, on the way up, shorting on the way up, you just cannot risk really a lot. You can just put in a starter and start with a wider stop, and once it puts in the turn, you can add. And yeah, of course, you could also wait for the turn. SMX, when the volume increases, but the stock doesn't move much more anymore, the price doesn't move much higher anymore, this could also often be a sign that it's exhausting now and that some supply is coming in. And this alone, if you look at the tape and volume and price, could also be kind of a setup or a reason to start, at least.
Yeah. Multiple ways to skin a cat. I always find it's better to be. I personally get in trouble when I do starters. I know I struggled with that for a large period of time.
Yeah, it's not easy and sometimes dangerous.
Yeah, easy to get stuck taking profits quickly, and then the losing, you're like, oh, well, I can add And if the worst is when it works. If it works 2-3 times, you're gonna third, fourth time you're gonna do it. Just long run, it's toxic behavior in my books. Okay, Adam, you said you needed to go, brother.
Yeah, pretty soon. I'll still listen a little bit.
Okay, so that was your takeaway. Awesome, good takeaways. Who wants to go next, Martin?
Yeah.
I can summarize if you're
Takeaway
confused.
is for me SMX, more in regards to next week's opportunities. And we talked about SMX, and it was a nice review or a nice preparation for tomorrow. We certainly have this on watch. A ticker we didn't talk much really, so I cannot call it takeaway, but I wanted still to mention it, is IXHL. I think this could be a very, very big next week, especially if they manage to gap it up one more time, maybe tomorrow already. And then they will probably come out with some form of data next week, some biotech data, and maybe they manage to spin it somehow positive. I always have this TNXP example in the back of my head from last year in November or December, where they gapped it up, where they came out with data in late pre-market, and they gapped it up, or they ran it until the open, and then it just sold off the rest of the day. IXHL, they had this filing on Thursday that they sold already their old ATM plus more, so they sold 63 million worth of shares probably during this run-up the past one and a half weeks. I guess it's probably not that easy anymore for this on the upside to really, squeeze it, I don't know, above 2 or so. It would be very difficult. But maybe they clear out Thursday's highs, 150, 160, with some data, with some initial push when the data comes out, and then it will probably be a sell the news event, a very big one, because they have a new $100 million ATM, and this company is most likely, and it's just a dilution machine, and this might be a big opportunity and a big fade back to 50 cents.
Is there anything else that stood out from recap today that you're like, this was useful, beneficial? You said outside of SMX?
Nothing that I can think of right now.
Okay, no problem. Brother Arsenal?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off Martin, SMX and SABS discussion really brought those stocks to light for me, like the real dilution behind them. I lost a little bit on SMX trying to short it on Friday. Wasn't much, but I got stubborn on it. But it makes sense that they were kind of holding it up, trapping shorts for maybe a gap up on tomorrow morning, and then maybe we could see like a fade heading into the day as market opens, kind of like a pre-market push like it did on July 15th. So I'll be paying attention to that. And SABS, if it gets any volume, I'll keep the dilution and be more aggressive on it.
My takeaway, starting with market sentiment, neutral. Me personally, neutral. Monday I'm going to watch out for neutral to bullish, and the other variables I'm going to watch out for is number of gappers. If it's one gapper, it might go sideways. If it's multiple gappers, then I'm going to be a bit more aggressive with short. My takeaway, I love the ticker stuff that we're mentioning. Those actionable steps I really like. So the SMX, SABS, IX, I don't know what IX, I've just researched, and then those were very much value adds to me, and that's about it.
Also SBET, honorable mention SBET. It's been giving good range on, like, they'll kind of give it like a pre-market pop, and then it's becoming a bit more predictable than so if you ever see SBET going for like a bit of a run, maybe like that 28 area.
Awesome. Anything else before we wrap it up?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys coming on a Sunday. If you guys made it this far, that means you liked it, you enjoyed it. I hope this was useful, beneficial. Feel free to write in the comments what you want. And also, if you are a trader that has made 7 figures in one point in your career, 7 figures profit, and you want to see if we're a good fit, shoot me a DM and Do Good Capital Twitter handle. If somebody approaches you, just don't get scammed. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. I hope this is useful. Share it with somebody you think that would benefit from it. And thank you very much.